want to start with thanks for Luis to coming all the way from Portugal to come here to our gallery and to our workshop.
Thank you for inviting me, for being here today, trying to teach you something, not teaching but sharing experience with all of you. Feel free to ask whatever you want. I prepared some presentation. I want to show you how my tanks evolve in times. My name is Luis Cardoso. I am 41 years old. My main job is nurse, so I work in surgery room and I do accumulate work in pre-hospital emergency. This is all what aquascaping gave me so far. I was in Taiwan. I invited to be in Taiwan escaping attempt with Masashi Ono. I've been in China when the CIC contest invited me to a live contest there. Was a very fine experience too. Green Aqua last year. This is my first steps in aquascaping. This tank is from 2008, the first time, the 60 centimeters in an 80 centimeters tank. The main ideas at this point was to create something with rocks and woods, and these were the first two tanks I set up. I wanted to make something different. This was my first competition tank. All the material we have here, I gathered in nature, and I tried to make a triangular shape. Of course, nowadays we still look at this and see how simple it was. I did not get the final photo. I did to submit to IAPLC, but more or less this type. So as you can see, the plants are not very well matured yet. I was very inexperienced in that, and there is lack of definition of the scape itself. So my best rank at that time was 1007. Next year, I made a change. So I invested in proper hardscape, in woods and zero rocks, and I tried to make something more complex. So in my tanks, I like to have the plants very healthy because it's a plants layout competition. If the plants are not okay, I don't submit it. I passed it from 1007 to 215 in APLC in 2015. Next year, I changed style for escape. I didn't make it to finish it on time to apply to IAPLC, so I just did it to EIIC. As you can see, I think plants are in mint condition, so you can see all the stems could be more bushy in the zone. I tried to gather some depth in the tank, but as you can see, all greens, and try to go more depth. What is lacking? Elements that can make the difference. You can see there is almost no shadows. You can see there is no big element that can come to be the focal point of the scape. Next year I try to create impact. More rocks, more hardscape, and try to balance then with plants. I try to give more role to the woods and support them with strong presence of rocks. After planting and finish this, it looked like this. As you can see, plants transform absolutely the layout. We have one idea, but after planting and after planning all the plants, we can fill all the gaps between and try to achieve the maximum potential of the scape. So this is my style, so plenty of colors, plenty of plants. I don't know, but maybe near 20 species of plants in this tank. What happened here? The hardscape was overgrown by the plants, so it's hidden, and was one of the lacunes that I need to solve. I tried to go just rock. I made a structure that almost have no shadow, and again I failed in have one element that can be looking and see it right clearly. That was the main focal point of the tank. Plants mint condition, lot of colors. Again, I like this is very important when you make a scape to plan to mix the colors so they can integrate themselves. Don't have the tones like green, orange, red in same there, so they mix and they turn in like was a continuation of each other. So this tank was lacking these shadow zones and one big piece that could make the pontal focus. This was the tank. The next tank is the tank I applied to EPLC. More complex, more details, again colors everywhere, but once again I failed hiding the hardscape again, so I let the plants growing too much. And probably the photo would be nice to be taken maybe 3 or 4 weeks before. In this year, 2019, I made two versions of this tank. This was the IPLC one, then I changed it and adjusted, improved it, I think. And this one was the tank that took me to Shanghai, to CIC. I got rank number 7. They invited me to be present there. What is the main difference of the tanks? Like you see, this zone is very weird here. And here there was almost nothing present, just plants. So I tried to change it. And I put some woods that give more impact when we look. I tried, this zone was almost the same. We have a big shadow here, big shadows in this zone. And I tried to make a colorful back so it would represent the springtime. So was the main idea of this tank. Changing, trying to improving. And this year, 2020, I tried to start using more bold woods. This one, this side of here, was disturbing the view. So I was thinking that this zone here was not good. So what I tried, I submitted this to IAPLC, and after some time I did this for EIIC. It's the same tank, I just put a bigger wood in front, and you can see all the depth raised. The focal point is well defined in the back, and the escape point too. The woods bring more detail that was not present in the previous tank. This tank was in IIC, I think is my top place. And again in CIC, I got rank 10. Color in the back to push the attention to the escape point. And then big elements there, so we can see shadows. But we can see details in shadow. It's not just black. And plants are already in very good condition. 2021 was a failure. I tried to make a forestscape again. This was the base artscape, a green tank. What is the problem? This main focal point is not very natural. If the ramifications of this wood were larger, were more dynamic, I think the scape would be better. This area does nothing to do with this in this. Here I miss some more dark zones in this corner here, and more definition in these woods. I think it was the main problems of this tank. 2000, I go even bolder in woods. I tried to make a very bold structure. The name is Fallen because the idea was to fallen tree under the water. I tried to plant it to get a more natural possible. So this was the final aspect, is the one that is in the poster of the workshop. The contrast between the green and the red is too big, so must be some yellow in some certain zones to make the transition between them. The reflections I think were very well created. If you see, this does exist behind this part, and here the same. So if you look the tank from front, this does not happen. So it's the work of the side reflections of the tank. And then the plants are a bit more overgrown than needed. There are some zones of the artscape that could be not filled with plants. 2033, I made 2 tanks. This was the first artscape I've done. It's beginning my style, so bolder woods. And then was the first edition of this layout. Lack of orange in that zone, so the green goes automatically to red. And a bit unbalanced because I have red here, I don't have red that zone. We need to find the proper balance on plants colors to get optimal and get more enthusiastic to the look. Plants are in good condition. The photography of these camps have evolved in time too, because I want to improve the quality of the photo. That's very important in a competition tank. If you take a bad photo of a good tank, can be bad too. So I try to improve that. What is missing? This zone here, I feel the lack of something, and then the end point the same. So what I change? I had another piece to give more flow and add more details in that zone. One of the things that was missing, the red tones that side appear now in the endpoint. Again, this tank ranked 8 in EISA, so it was a good one. In 2023, purchased a new tank, so right now I have 2 1200 tanks in my home. And I made this scape just for fun, to share on the social media and etc. It was nothing made for a contest. It was a simple layout, as you can see. But in the end, I managed to take a photo and send to EIPLC, and ended up being my best performance in EIPLC. I got rank 29. The structure is not the same because I adjusted over time. So The first version of the tank did not have rotalas. I had it later because it was too green, and I like always to have some points of color. But we don't see the shock of red, just red. So I want something that was not too much colorful, because what I have seen on time is that EAPLC don't like too many reds. So I tried to just stick to the orange tones, and then the tank is super healthy, a lot of details with rocks everywhere. I think is a tank that ended very well. 2023 happened something that I wasn't expecting. I submitted these 5 tanks to the European contest, to EAPLC, and I got rank number 1 in 3 of them. I got 3 in nano and got 4 in the large switch 2 chisel XL competition. So I believe will be a unique year. And I think at least in EAPLC nobody have done this before, so I was very lucky. This is the 1200 like this. This is an ITP, similar to the one I did at Green Aqua, and this is a 60p. 20 again, I tried to improve my structure with woods and rocks, but I did set some problems, and the lack of time did not allow me to finish the tank like I wanted. Again, I tried to create shadows. The reflections here are not visible because it's just visible when we fill the tank with water. It's full of reflection of rocks in the corner. I tried to make the main focal point with big woods and then some depth with smaller woods in the back. After planting and finish, the final photo was this one. This year I opted to not go to extreme reds again, so more orange tone, but I didn't finish on time to submit to EAPLC. I just have done this tank this year, and this was the final result. Again, plants health absolutely mint condition like always. It's a fine tank, I think, but not the most tank for a competition. So it's a fine tank we have at home to look at, and that's it. So this is my evolution. This year I did not present the tanks yet, but I go again with 2 tanks, one with wood and the other with just rock. And let's see if I having some problems. I didn't finish yet them, because this is why I didn't bring it here. But let's see how in these 2 months that I have, if I can finish one of them at least. My main works in my 90 centimeters tank. 2 rock layouts that I didn't much do yet in the 1200. The 60 centimeters too, because at my home right now I'm running 6 tanks, so I have always a lot of scapes because we need to train. If you want to have more experience, we need to do. We just learn with our mistakes and always try to improve it. So some of these tanks have ranked very well. I believe this one is 3 in China competition. I think this one AIGA, and this one placed 2nd in AIGA. This is my first 60p aquascaping properly that I did. And then these are our chronological order of them. So this was what I was. The presentation I have, you can pass my, what I have bring you today, just to share my experience. Feel free to ask anything if you want. What we are going to do today here, I have this sketch here. So it's not final, just did the first layer. I'm going to try to pass this. Of course, here it is not finished yet. So it lacks all the back. That I will do in the tank because I need to raise all the substrate to finish the end point, but will be this more or less the structure. So a side more strong, a side a bit more smaller one, and coming from above a bit more higher than this to create that. And let's see how I can do it in the tank.